This is Palm 102 Digital Tuesday. Welcome to our today's edition of Hard Talk. And today's theme for the program, The Better Path, the ABCs of values, adding value to all life by adding value to your life. Like I said, today's theme, determination. Let me say a very special welcome to my co-host, Caron Asgarali, and we got a very special guest. I'll allow Caron to introduce that special guest. We stand by to
Good
start.
afternoon, Daddy Mac.
Good afternoon, Karen. Good afternoon. How are you?
I am very well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm trying to get better.
Well, I don't know how much better you want to get because you chose the right songs to start us off this afternoon. I just have a few things you said. You chose that one from Merchant, a
Yes.
Caribbean connection, a regional vibration. We go in non-stop.
Yes.
And then you had, I think the other one was from Stalin. We can make it if we try just a little harder. Just keep trying a little harder. But I feel the one that really spoke to me was that one from, I think it's from Ryzen.
Yes,
No
right.
matter what life brings down the road, I'm going to reach for what is mine. So,
Yes.
life could bring all kinds of things, but you keep going. And that's what we're talking about today, determination. And we have a
Yes.
very special guest today. And just before I introduce him, because I know he's been with us, waiting there with us for a little while, I just want to remind our listeners what the ABCs of values is. And this is a character education program. We teach values. We talk about values. And this was a project that was started back in 2021 and was launched during the pandemic for International Day of Peace by the nonprofit Project Rare, which advocates for peace and against violence. And it was done in collaboration with some really esteemed individuals and organizations who willingly shared their thoughts and their thoughts about the value of values and on specific values along what we called an alphabetical journey. That's what we called it back then. And so far we've done A, B, and C. Before we even get to that, I just want to remind our listeners that we said there were 3 C's that had to guide our actions when it came to upholding values. And one was that we had to do constant revision over our lifetime. So, you might think that you're big and you're old and you don't need it. We need revising our values all the time. And the second one is conscious effort to make sure that we do whatever it takes to make sure our actions are guided by our values. And then C is compassion, living with compassion. So, because that should be the end result of a life guided by valued principles. So when we started this journey, of course, when God orchestrates something, you can bet it is going to be awesome.
Mhm.
So we began the alphabetical journey of values with Candice Campbell, who kicked us off with A for authenticity. And then we went on to B for beauty. I think we had Johanna Andrews. And then the week after that, we did C for compassion. And our presenter was the Right Reverend Adrian Sunarine. Today, we welcome the letter D for determination and our very special guest. And the person who did the video for determination, Mr. Colin Denoon. And before he comes on, I'll just say a few words about him. Colin Denoon is an attorney at law in private practice. His main areas are the law of succession, criminal law, and family law. He hosts the Legal Corner podcast series and is the author of The Entrepreneur Lawyer of the Future. Big shoes, don't you think, Daddy Mac?
Of course.
So, good afternoon and welcome, Colin.
Hi, good afternoon to you, Karen. Good afternoon to Daddy Mark and to all of your listeners.
Yes. Good afternoon, my brother.
So, Colin, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today. I mean, the last time we really interacted was back in 21 when we did this video on determination. And
Yes.
did you enjoy doing that video, by the way?
Yes, it was very enjoyable. Very, very enjoyable.
Yeah. So Daddy Mac, how about if we share that video and then we go into some discussion?
Okay.
I think values, simply put, represent what someone values, what is important to that person. And values serve as a compass for us as we go forward in this journey for life. And values are also those things that remain constant with us as we move from one stage to the other in life. Many things may change, but our values should really remain constant and we should seek to adhere to them. According to the Oxford Dictionary, determination refers to the quality of being determined or having a firmness of purpose. I chose determination as my chief value because it really explains the course of my life thus far. I had to have determination in order to overcome many obstacles that I faced in my journey towards fulfilling my goals, ranging from studying long hours to managing interpersonal conflict. I think determination gives me the confidence to keep going no matter what, because I know that God is with me and I will not fail. So my encouragement to all of you who are viewing this is to have determination and don't give up on your goals no matter what.
Yes, so Colin, would you like to tell us a little more about your views on determination?
Yes, sure. Well, as I alluded to in the video, determination really involves that resoluteness or that um, firmness of purpose. And I heard a pastor once said it's that stick-to-itiveness where you do not give up in spite of all of the challenges that one may encounter in life. So that is what determination means to me. And I remember I was first introduced to this word in primary school because we had our vice principal, and I believe he had something like a word of the day. And one of those words was determination. So that was, even from way back then, I was first introduced to the aspect of determination. So it really is a major value and a major characteristic.
Yes, and I like that idea of having a word a day. What do you think, Daddy Mac?
Of course, that is very motivational. Yeah.
Yes. So, Colin, tell me something. You talk about determination and stick-to-itiveness, and do you think you could share with our listeners a little bit about what they could do or what people in general could do to stay focused and determined and, to just do what Stalin said, make it if we try a little harder?
I think determination comes about before you can be determined, you must have a goal. So when you have goals that you are directing your life towards and you are passionate about it, if you really want something to happen, you automatically have that sense of determination because you will have already made up your mind that you want this thing. So, for example, somebody who is saving up to purchase a vehicle, that person is going to be determined because they know, okay, if I need to work an extra shift, if I need to cut out some KFC here and there, save that extra money, I'm going to
Yes.
do it because I know at the end of my time, I want to get that new car. So I think having goals really, is the foundation for determination. Once you have a clear goal and you are serious about it, you automatically will develop that sense of determination to overcome it. Another way is by facing challenges. So everyone would have experienced some type of challenge in their life. And when you look back and you see how you were able to overcome those challenges, it gives you the determination now to go after bigger things, bigger endeavors or bigger projects because you would have conquered things in the past.
Yes, those are two very important things because I remember reading a book by Napoleon Hill, and one of the first things he talked about was having that definiteness of purpose, because that is what gives you the encouragement to keep going no matter what. And it comes back to the same thing Ryzen said there, Daddy Mac.
Mm-hmm.
when he talked about, no matter what life brings down the road,
Yes.
reach for what is mine. And you can only reach for what is yours if you know what yours is. And
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
think in Colin's video, he talked about it acting as a compass. Nowadays we have a GPS, and
Yeah.
the GPS can only take you somewhere if you program it and tell it where you're going to. And it comes back to that old saying. How Let me see, I don't know if I'll get it right, but it's something like, if you don't know where you're going, then you could end up anywhere, or any road will take you anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you could end up in the wrong place,
Yeah.
where somewhere you don't want to be, with failure and heartache and all of those things. But again, even if you end up there, Colin is saying, use those bad situations to push you forward. But again, you must have that resoluteness of purpose. So, Colin, how important do you think it is for young people in particular? I mean, all people, yes, but for young people to act with determination?
I think it is extremely important for young people because sometimes young people face special challenges, right? So, for example, some of them may be in environments where nobody would have done what they want to do before, So then now you find that level of discouragement is there, or sometimes persons may ridicule or make fun of them for their ideas and so on. And they really need to be determined, to rise above those type of challenges that many times they would not have even had any control over it. So I think when you at that age, let's say secondary school coming up, if you might be, now starting to work or UE and so on, you need an extra dose of determination, to, because also you are still maturing as a person, you are still figuring out yourself and all of that. So determination is extremely important for young persons.
That's so true. That's a very good point you made about people still trying to decipher who they are. And I remember when I was a young person still at university, I remember going in to do this program, and the lecturer challenged the class. He said he doesn't think that anyone in this class would win, would cross. I think they had a certain percentage you had to make to win an award that they had the following year. And I remember sitting there and I said to myself, oh, that's what you think? I will show you. I will get this. And so you're correct, people put us off, right? But we have to remain resolute in what we want and work towards it, even as young people. And the Bible talk about that. The Bible talk about not letting the elders make you feel less than because you are young. What you have to do is know your worth and know your what values, what the things you stand for. And in that case, they were talking about knowing the gospel, the scriptures, so that when you talk to them, you talk with authority, and they would not judge you based on your age. So yes, it's important for young people to act with determination. Now, if we talk about young people, what about us older folks? Colin, do you have any advice for us?
I was just about to ask Colin that. For the more matured people. I don't want to say old people.
Yeah, well, of course, because I don't want to give everything to the younger people, because I know we also have mature persons in the audience, and I'm sure that their challenges would be different to what someone who is younger may face. So a more mature person would be maybe in a leadership position, and they would need determination as it relates to dealing with different personalities. They may need the determination to remain in a position where persons may think that they don't deserve it. So determination is applicable to everyone in every sphere and in every phase of life. It is just that idea of I'm going to stick with this until I'm finished with it. I'm not going to give in and I'm not going to give up.
Yes, because there are some people who are might be of the opinion that I think I'm too old to continue doing this, or I think it's difficult to continue at this age. So what you're saying there, that sense of determination augurs well for everybody, no matter what age or
What
what
age?
sphere of life you
Yes.
you find yourself within. It's
Yes.
like convincing yourself, and in convincing yourself, sometimes that determination convinces other people.
True. That is correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It
It's a
comes
correct.
back
kind of yeah,
to us just supporting each other along our journeys.
exactly an unwavering kind of resolve. It's a kind of persistence to achieve, and all the goals despite the obstacles. Because, like Colin said, sometimes you end up in an environment, especially the young people. They end up in environments where it's not desirable. There will be people who will discourage you. There are things that are happening within the area or that environment where it might be sort of distractive to whatever your goals might be as a young person. They identify certain places as hotspots, certain places as drug blocks and ghettos and things. But you'll find within all of those areas, you'll find someone who shines and come out of that.
Yeah, who rise above it, who rise above the situation.
Yes, yes, and it's a determination. I know a guy who is the son of a woman who Shuma Wilson, I can call her name, who worked with us here at 102, and they lived at the Beetham Estate, and he became he's now practicing law.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when you look at the Beetham, you would say, well, thumbs down. You know, that area is this and that area is that, but he was determined to, like you said, to spend a lot of long hours in study and to rise above that sort of situation. And it was all based on determination.
Yeah, and even another thing that comes to my mind when I think about determination is this season we're in with the Olympics,
Yeah.
right? Because you
Ah,
see these
yes.
athletes and they would
Hmm.
have trained for how many years,
Yeah.
to get that medal and to win and to become the best in the world in their sport,
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that's that determination right there.
And if
Yes.
you think about our Kishon Walcott back then when he won that gold medal for javelin throwing,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know, that is determination. And then he recovered he went through a little bad spell and then he recovered. If we
Hmm.
look at even well, all sports people in general, if we look at our own Brian Lara, I mean, he's one of my heroes, so I
Hmm.
must bring him in the conversation.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, look at Brian Lara. I mean, when you listen to his story as a child, at secondary school, the hours he would put in and just, practicing his batting over and over and over. That is determination, you
Hmm.
know. So
And
I like that Colin brought in the Olympics because I was actually thinking that same thing. Which one really struck me though? I'm sure it struck a lot of people because he went viral. That the Turkish shooter, pistol shooter. Did you all read about him? I
no,
saw
no,
him at
no.
all.
I haven't seen that event.
no, I didn't see that one either.
Well, I have to share that one with you all because they had photos of all the pistol shooters and they all had on all this expensive equipment and up to date equipment and special air plugs and all sorts of things. Real equipment they have on and they're shooting and this guy he walked in there in a t-shirt and a pants, whatever kind of pants, and he had on just normal little buds or whatever it is you have, like what I have on right now,
Yeah.
and he had on his spectacles, his glasses, just like what I have on now. He stood up in front of the target. He put out his hand, one hand behind the back and the other hand with the gun, and he shot his way to a silver medal.
Hmm.
Oh,
Now, looking at it, you might think, oh, a lot of people were saying he was a hitman or whatever, but it turns out that he has been doing this since 2008.
Hmm.
Right? So again, it shows you have to stay the course,
Yes.
yes,
right? And as Colin rightly put it, he said determination is the habit of putting more and more effort instead of quitting when things get difficult.
That is so, so true.
Yes.
So the obstacles that you might endure in going forward, because I mean, I can tell a long story about that. You know, there were a lot of, it seems to me like there were more downs than ups, but you take advantage of the ups when they rear their heads. You know, you ride on
Yes.
that up till it takes you to another level. You know, and
Yes.
then you'll find yourself like, geez, what's going on? You know, I've been trying, how I end up here again. And you look up. You know, a guy used to tell me, if you fall and you fall on your back, it's better to get up because you're seeing up. He said, if you fall flat on your face, so when you get up, you're seeing down.
Yeah.
They say before on your back, just get up and you know, keep looking up and just continue doing what you're doing, because I mean there are lots of success stories that can refer to and could compare times when they were down. When I tell you down, you want to give up. You say, oh, that's it. And I can say a lot about myself when that is concerned. There are times when I say, I had enough. I had enough. I had enough. I had enough. And then I'll wake up the next day with that inspiration and go, try it this way. And I would try it another way and find myself accelerating. So I'd say, okay. And eventually I'll get to that goal that I've been looking forward to. You know, on a few occasions, well, I can recall having those experiences. So determination is a real sort of inner strength and a drive to pursue your objectives with a relentless kind of focus. You know,
Yes.
no matter
Yeah.
what, you just have to be well focused. And, you know, like I always say, aim for the moon. And if you miss, you'll be among the stars. You know,
Sure.
that was my driving force most of the time, you know?
And something I found that helped me develop determination as well was even just, I know I use the Olympics as an example, but even just playing sports. So like I would do running and so on, well, more or less like 5K, 10Ks and so on. And that took determination, you know, not only to complete the race, but the train, you
Yes.
know. So I found that by being physically active, it helps me as well to have that determination and to have that strength to face other situations.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes. So,
Yes, because as a runner, you would know when you if you decide you're going into a marathon, you have to train before. You have your goal and you have your plan how to get to that goal. And you know, you mentioned that earlier about having a clear, how did you put it, a definite purpose or a clear goal as to where you want to get to, and that's good. But do you think it's important also that you should have a plan to go along with that purpose?
Definitely, because I think it's a goal without a plan, just a dream, right? Because you haven't really put any sort of time limit on it, and you haven't really determined how you decided how you will go about achieving it. So yes, you'll have a goal, but you break it up into the smaller parts, and you can use those smaller parts as stepping stones and building blocks until you reach the goal that you're trying to achieve.
Right, that's important, I guess. And also, it might be a good way if you stumble at any time, you know, it's easier for you to get back on track.
The block up, yes.
Yes.
Because you have it
Um,
broken up into smaller parts and smaller stages.
right. So, like, even as we were talking about marathon training, and have you ever run a marathon,
No,
Colin?
I haven't run a marathon as yet. The most I did was a 10K.
Right, right. So, do you never hit the wall, as they say?
No, I haven't hit the rest. I know you're a runner too. I know you used to do your running.
Yeah, I'm glad you say used to be. I find for this year I haven't been doing it as much as I should, but I'll be determined, Colin. I'm not going to
And
stop.
get
You have
back in
motivated me.
it.
Yes.
Right.
I'm not
That's
promising
good.
anybody to run a marathon.
Daddy Mark, with your size, if you start to run, I think you'll do really good, you know.
Oh boy. I think to me it gets boring. You just
Oh,
running, running.
no way. You
No,
did
no, it
not
clears your
say
mind.
that.
It clears your mind. It clears your mind.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Colin
Clears your
is
mind.
right. That used to be my time for thinking. You know, you get away from people, you're on your own and you're running and your brain is clear because you have highly oxygenated blood flowing through your brain cells, so you can think better.
And that even if you don't run, you could do a brisk walk.
Yes, well,
That is also helpful.
yes, I am all in for that. I'm all in for that because you know what I look at sometimes. People might say, "Oh, good, that's so far." You know, when I'm into the carnival thing. You know, and
Okay.
I look at people who would leave downtown and jump with a band all the way up to the savannah and by extension the dome at the stadium there
Yeah.
and back down to downtown Port of Spain. You know when you look at that distance, that in
And
itself
the
is a
distance.
marathon.
But that is, yeah.
You know,
That
but the
is.
normal times they would say, "No, I'm taking a taxi."
Yes.
You
But you
know,
see, it comes back to what Colin said. They had a goal, a purpose.
yes,
So even
yes,
though they had never done it before, they
yeah.
did it. They were determined to get to that point.
Yeah, they even go to gyms and thing in the building.
Yes.
In
Talking about
Yes.
preparation. Yes.
yeah, that's another kind of determination because they know what it takes to
Yeah.
go the distance, the whole distance, come Carnival Monday and Tuesday, and
Tuesday.
that also includes going to all these fets and all inclusives and thing. You got to have some sort of physical condition to make it all the way.
Yeah, you have to have the stamina.
Yeah, so that takes some determination as well.
And
Yes.
in addition to, let's say, having that kind of physical stamina, we need to build our spiritual stamina as well
Of course, that's
by
very important.
making sure we read our whatever scripture it is, go to our churches, gather together, pray, all the things that we have to do to become, move further along that spiritual spectrum, as we
Yes.
say. The thing is, it's easy for us to talk about building determination, especially when we're talking about young people. But what if you lived like most of your life and you just kind of wander through life and do whatever life, go with the flow, as some people say? Do you think, either Colin or Daddy Mac, do you think that as you get older, you can develop it if you never had it before? I know we talked about as older people, we can encourage it, we can bring it back, but can we develop, do you think, determination as we get older from scratch?
I think once there's life, there's hope. So that once you are exposed to new information, you could always take it and incorporate it into what you're doing going forward. So if somebody is hearing about determination for the first time from today they can make that choice that they're going to apply determination in their life going into the future. So there's nothing like I'm too old or it's too late for me. Once you have life, there's still hope.
I, I,
Right.
I I can agree to that also because I have a good friend who used to co-host with me here too. He said, why don't you go do a degree? I said, at this stage of my life, brother? He said, yes. He said, you can do it. You could just make up your mind and just spend some time. Whenever you have the spare time, you use that spare time to 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 work towards it and thing. I told him I'll think about it, and I've been giving it some thought. So I just have so many things to do that sometimes I use my spare time to rest.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's something that I am not afraid of attempting, and I've been so determined in a lot of goals that I have achieved and thing. I just think, well, I don't think I want to go to the university or anything to do that. So there's so much online options now and things. So I'm gonna
Yes.
probably sort it out because he was telling me there's a guy who was near to 80 years old who was doing a managerial course that led him to a diploma and then to a degree. So I said,
Wow.
"Oh yeah, at 70 something plus, approaching 80." He said, "Yes." I was like, "Okay, that is highly motivational."
Yeah,
You know,
go
I
for it,
think,
Daddy Mark. Go for it. Go for it, man.
Right, right.
We
I
are
agree.
supporting you.
yes, I think I'm gonna try it.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Go for it.
yes,
Go for it.
This might be just the push you needed, Daddy Mac.
That's it.
yeah. You spoke about the development part of it when you think about it through the biblical side of things. I think that is the foundation to help you get even more determined. and committed to those kind of attitudes that I should use first before you attempt these goals. Because
Yeah.
I believe that once you're spiritually grounded, you tend to have that sort of belief that if there's one thing on your side or one spiritual being that is omnipotent and all of that is the Almighty, I think that in itself will help you to attempt whatever you think you want to build on or achieve. It gives you that drive that ends up to be the same determination to help you go forward because you know it's like you're purposing your mind and yourself to accomplish what you hear people say God tell them this and God spoke to them and things. So that inner voice that you hear,
Yes.
it gives you more purpose to accomplish,
True.
and I like that part about it. That is a base where you are sure, you're guaranteed that you have that foundational base and platform that you can jump off from. You have nothing to lose when you think about it from that angle. The try you might fail, you just try and try again until you get that to that place. Maybe like you said, building blocks step by step. And you have that foundation. Once you have that belief, that self belief, and sometimes I say belief is one thing, and to know is more than to believe. So once you know that I have God on my side, and this is the foundation that I'm sure that is very firm and I can build on. I think that helps develop your determination in going forward.
And the
Most
Bible talks
definitely.
about that. The
Yeah.
Bible has scripture about that, talking about using your struggles to develop perseverance, and it's the same kind of principle. You're talking about perseverance, building character, and character building hope, and all of that brings us to the Holy Spirit.
Mhm.
So yes, there is no way you can develop or talk about determination without linking it back to having faith. And even in the Bible, it talks about wavering and being, lukewarm. You can't be lukewarm. You must be hot or you cold. And if you're hot, you're going after the Holy Spirit in a determined fashion.
Mhm.
So yeah, so you're right, it comes back to faith. I just want to bring up something that just I remember reading about this some time ago, and I'm sure Colin might know a little bit about this. When we talk determination, the first person that normally pops into my head from history, I'm talking about the history books here, is Thomas Edison. I'm not sure if that rings any bells for anybody, but Thomas Edison is the person who came up with the first light bulb,
Yes.
but he didn't come up with that until on his 10,001 attempt was when he got it.
Mm.
That is determination.
Yes, it
10,000
is.
times, right? Yeah.
It really
Without
is. He's
giving
a
up.
great example of determination.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because so many times you have
Yeah.
people trying to do things and, they try, they fail, they try, they fail. Somebody shoot them down. People, when I say shoot them down, not literally, but they tell them no, no, no. And Colin mentioned something about that. So if somebody approaches you and says, "Listen, I am fed up. I just want to give up at this point because I've tried every single thing. I've tried 20 times to do this." What would you tell that person, Colin?
Well, think about Thomas Edison.
Right. Yes.
Because he would be a good example to look at as somebody who didn't give up.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, the determination is good, but sometimes it's also important to be realistic, because sometimes we may be trying something and maybe it just wasn't meant to be, or there may have been a change in the market. So if you have a business and you realize that there isn't a demand for the product that you was accustomed making a lot of money from, then sometimes these situations might be a call to change. So sometimes you might be failing in something, and it might be a opportunity to close one door and open another door. So determination doesn't mean that you keep banging on a door that is closed. So I think that there's that balance to it as well. Yes, we have to be determined, but at the same time, we have to be realistic about the environment that we are in, or that this scenario or the situation that we are facing, and how to go about dealing with it. And that's why we have persons that we can talk to for advice,
Yeah.
to give us that a third party perspective on what we're facing.
That's wonderful, wonderful words of wisdom there, because you're correct. Because even in doing your goal, the first thing they tell you about goal setting, well, at least back in my day, was they would tell us about setting SMART goals, which would include being realistic and timely and all those things. And I like the idea about adjusting your sales. That's what you're saying, right? But
Yeah.
essentially, it's still the same thing, because you're saying adjust the sale, but keep going, still keep going in the direction of success, whatever success may be at that point in time. It might change, but generally you stick to success. And I like to think about things as my divine purpose. I
Yeah.
think we need to figure out what our divine purpose is and always be moving in that direction.
Yes.
That's my thought. What do you think about that, either Colin or Daddy Mac?
Well, I'm inside with you there because you know, you got to be extremely motivated. You know, you mustn't think about quitting at all or changing your mind. And the divinity that you're including here, I think it plays a very strategic role in in that kind of mindset because when you look at young people now, there are a lot of negative fingers pointing to them. Sometimes I wonder if there's anybody who will take time out to brave the occasion because you have to have a sort of mindset yourself to
Yeah.
approach these people who are probably engaging in negative activities and stuff. But so I think what you said there is it's very appropriate to the approach if you are to share, especially with the young ones who you might find, well, I think he's talented. I think he can do this. Why is he into that? So if at some point in time we are allowed by some of these young people to come within their environment or have an audience with them to discuss it from that point of view, Karen, I think that would be very, very, very helpful in making that turnaround where values are concerned because some of them like they have reached into a stage of like I'm fed up. I'm doing anything to get that sneakers to party or to wear nice brands. Some young people they look at those things as part of their youth, and if we can encourage them from that angle, I think we can get somewhere. If there are 10 of them and we can get through to one, I think from that angle, Karen, I think I support you on that, and maybe that can help them to develop a mentality of determination because
Yes.
it bothers me plenty, when you see what's going on now.
Yeah, and having people like Colin and some of the other people who did the values videos on
Hmm.
board and going into the schools, and I think that there is a program. I think I want to take a look into that where we can partner with them, with the Ministry of Education, and get into the schools and take this program into the schools and reach the children, because we have real life examples,
Hmm.
living examples of determination amongst us. And I'm not promoting anything here, but I'm going to talk a little bit about some people in the Hot Cocoa series of books. Now, Hot Cocoa is on a rainy day. It's a series of inspirational books, anthologies that I started producing in 2020. And if you hear some of these stories, Daddy Mac, yours is in the one that's coming up soon, so they will hear about you soon. But there are people, I mean, you read about, there is one person who, her name is Houdin, I'll call her name. Her name is Houdin Henry. I know she'll have no objection to that. She is a nail technician. Why I liked her story is that I saw it as a story like from rebel,
Mm-hmm.
right, to royalty. Because along the way, she didn't start off with a dream, but along the way, she developed a dream. And I think I would want to change the word dream because Colin pointed it out to me that it's a dream if you don't have a plan. But
Mm-hmm.
she initially started off as a dream for her and eventually became a plan, a goal. And her goal is to create an empire of nail technicians. Now, for somebody who doesn't think deeply, you might say a nail technician is just a nail technician. But no, that was her gifting from God to be able to do women's nails and restore their confidence, give them a boost, let them feel good about themselves. And she does it with, with such excellence and dedication. And I think that, whatever you're doing, if you put your heart and soul into it, it's going to be worthwhile, and it's not something that people should cry down. And so who they now, she I think she was living somewhere in the east when they were young. When she was in school, she had a boyfriend up there, and then all of a sudden her mom said, no, 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 mm-mm. We're moving from here, we're going down south to live. And she rebelled. Every opportunity she got, she would run back up to the east to meet with her friends and her boyfriend, until her mom put her foot down and she said, none of this, you are going to serve all. And she made sure that she learned that skill. What she thought was her punishment turned out to be for her benefit, because it became her business eventually. She's very successful today, and she has bigger plans. Her success has not ended. She's young still. She has a long way ahead of her, and she has a plan to get to this goal of nail tech royalty. So that's just one example that we could use when we're talking to the young people. We were rebels too, but look at what we did with all the negative things that came into our life, and this is what we have produced from them. So I think that is what determination. That is just a really classic example of being a winner. Yeah, let's call it that, being a winner, because the old time saying, winners never quit, quitters never win.
Yes,
And
yes.
I like to think about winners not only as the ones who we see winners as those who may have won the gold medal, yes, those who might have struck it big in terms of having the best salary or owning the biggest business. And it's not only about the financial, which is big in our society, but I think we need to have a bigger vision than just what we are living here in this life at this moment. There is something more. There is more to life than life. There is eternal life. And I think if we look at it like that, from that perspective, we can see success defined in so many different ways, broader ways that could encompass the spiritual and even more beyond the material. Feel free to join in. I don't want to dominate the conversation.
Actually, let me just say, folks, you can send your messages via YouTube or Facebook, if whichever medium you are choosing to listen to and view us on. And you can also call us at 222-8255, 222-8255. And our toll-free number is 866-525-1099, 866-525-1099. You know, I've been determined to accomplish some goals that, even though I have a plan for these goals, sometimes I run into my own self, like I run head on into myself, like you want to run into yourself, because how in the world am I going to do this? You will attempt it, like Colin said, you knock on this door and you realize, you see that door, it's not even locked, they probably sealed that door. So knock on this next one. So sometimes you attempt to approach a situation where you think, well, I'm going to work hard at this, and the determination might not strike you at the same time, but you just decided, I'm going to try this. I'm going to work hard at this because there's a project that I am onto. And I find myself running into myself because sometimes the people who I try to reach out to, the people who are the controllers, the people who are sitting in these authoritative seats, and they just, like Karen said, shoot you down. They say, okay, I'll take note of that. I'll call you. We'll develop a file on this, and that's a fantastic idea. And you will say, well, okay, nice, you're on the ball, you're in the game, you're moving forward. And months and sometimes a year might pass and nothing happens. And when you approach these people again, they try to make it seem as though they remembered, but they have totally forgotten you. So, Colin, tell me how you work around that kind of head-on crash, I will call it. When you see in going down this way, you are being inspired in a way with the kind of talk shop kind of thing. I call those things talk shops because nothing comes out of it. When you
Well,
go back
that,
to the situation,
yeah, Daddy Mark, that is always a challenge where you have an idea, you put it before someone, and then they give you the impression that they're going to do something about it, and then nothing is done. Now that is something that is beyond your control, because you would have passed it on to the higher ups, you would have passed it on to somebody in a position of authority. So the only thing I could say in a case like that is to see if you can follow up with them or find another way to get it done. That's the only two options I could see in
Yeah,
a
I
case
quite
like that.
agree with you because I'm thinking of other avenues right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's difficult, So sometimes okay, like I said, if we can have an audience with some of these people who we think or we see fingers being pointed at in a negative way. Let's say we are lucky enough, or we get an opportunity to hold an audience with them, and you can convince them. Listen, I'm sure this can happen. You're determined to convince them, and they accept and absorb that determination. And in their way going forward, they come out and tell the man, Daddy Mac, why you send me there? You know, it sort of kills their spirit to develop that determination. So, I don't know. Maybe, like you said, you have to just instantly start thinking about another medium or another avenue or some other special technique to get around that situation and try to continue going forward because it's very difficult
Yeah,
when you
and it
try.
would be discouraging. It would be discouraging, especially
Yes,
when you talk to somebody or you did your part then, and then
yeah.
nothing goes forward after that.
Hmm, hmm.
Yeah, no, it's
The
a
then take
challenging
of that kind
situation.
of determination within the person you try to inspire and motivate. I think that can be damning. It can be, it could be kind of destructive in a way because they will think, well, that could have happened. They really like that, and these people are not helping them go forward. I think all that helps and adds to the negative aspect of what we are experiencing right now.
Yes,
Yeah,
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 it does. It really does.
yeah. And I know Karen tries a lot. Karen, she wears a lot of caps,
Yeah.
outside of this. Well, this I was very determined to make sure that this program happened. So
I'm so grateful for that, Daddy Mac.
I said this is going to happen every other Tuesday because I really delve into the cultural aspect of Trinidad and Tobago. I try my best to develop that from different angles, from the musical aspect, from the social aspect. I try to live that. I live it as a matter of fact. I don't try to because I'm involved in a lot of cultural stuff. And when Karen came up with this idea, I thought this is a fantastic idea. We invite people to call in and to send in their comments, but I think some people they sit back and absorb what we are saying, and probably as time goes on, we are just at D. We are going to Z. So Z, and I know it will develop, and I'm certain that uh, 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 that kind of determination can spread like a wildfire, and we can help to turn around the mindset of some of these people. But we too
And the
have
thing, sorry, Daddy Mac. The thing is, if you think about even the project itself, when we started back in Colin, I think it would have been like 2020. I would have reached out to you, and we didn't get it off. No, 2021, I think was when we did it. And so since 2021, Daddy Mac, we
Mm,
had this idea that we wanted to do it. We did it. And
yeah.
then I wanted to take it further. I always wanted it to be aired like this. That was
Yes.
the intention for it. So again, it comes back to what Colin, he's the youngest in the three of us here. And I have to
Mhm.
say, I really respect some of the things he's been telling us this evening. You see, age has nothing to do with it. He
Of
has
course.
wisdom. He has brought a lot of wisdom here, and I
Mhm.
really appreciate that. But coming back to this, we stuck it through from 21. It is now 2024. 3 years later, we are now getting a foot in
Yeah.
with our program. So, I'm really glad that one, we didn't give up with it, and
Mhm.
two, that you stuck with us too, and you're determined to see it through to the end. I really
Of course.
appreciate that.
Of course, I thought it was very, very important, especially with the state of the nation right now. I thought,
Yes.
yes, let us get this thing via the media. I thought it was very fantastic from day one. We talk a lot on the phone sometimes and thing, and I said, wow, this is an area that I would like to see materialize. I would like it to be aired. As a matter of fact, when we go live on Facebook and YouTube, you can always pull up the podcast after, so you can,
Oh, right. Okay, so I could share it afterwards.
yes, you can always go to YouTube, you type up Hard Talk, Power One
Mm-hmm.
Digital Tuesday, and it will come up. So it
This
Right,
can
is
be shared.
excellent.
Yes, it can be shared, after. And it will be always be there. You know,
right.
as long
Yes.
as YouTube allows it to be there, it will always be there. So I think it was very, very important, especially because where I live, I see a lot of standard of living that, it's well below whatever it should be. I see people trying very hard. I mean, the area that I'm in, it's not riddled with criminality and all of that, but you know, I travels from Labrador to Port of Spain every day, Monday to Friday, and I see, and I'm always into the news, and I'm always into documentaries and stuff. So I see for myself, a hands-on kind of experience every day as to the importance of values. Because for some reason, I don't even think it plays that kind of role in the schools. Because when I look at the school, there's a school right where I live. Right now they're reconstructing it and stuff, but when I look at the behavioral patterns of the children, I used to go to that school too. That's my alma mater. And back in those days, we had teachers of a certain quality. Teachers that when you leave home, and you go to school, there were some teachers I were kind of scared of, because they were so they were so regimental about their way of teaching. And it worked for us. But now you see like there's a breakdown there. You see like students are having their own way, the kind of language I would hear them using within the school compound and just on the skirts of the school's compounds. I mean, we see it, the sort of fighting and all of that. So I thought when Caron came up with this idea, I thought this is something I am going to do. So I changed gears, from the aspect of exposing the cultures of Trinidad and Tobago, because I call it we music and we culture. That's how I theme my programs. But it's more, I use the musical aspect to relate to certain stories that I would like to talk about, or things that I would like to say. Maybe if it's something political that I don't like, that the politicians I do it, I use calypsos there because I am not getting into no no kind of oral confrontation with these people. So I will play songs because calypsonians have sung on every aspect of the culture. So I stick along that. So when she came up with this ABCs of values, I thought that this is appropriate to add to what I do. So I said, okay, so I'm going to do what I do on one Tuesday and give Karen the other Tuesday. So I'm glad that both of you are interlocking with the same idea of developing the values within people, not young people alone, because sometimes sometimes I think it's from below up, from bottom up. But sometimes you have to take it from top to bottom because there are people who are probably ignorant of certain values that they should um, inculcate into their younger, their children. Some people When you look at how they mature and how they nurture their children, you know, well, geez, something is missing here. You know, and I think it leads to a lot of the negative um, realization that is happening now. So I thought it was very important. So I jumped on board one time with it.
Yeah,
And
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 Daddy
you know,
Mark,
you brought
I just want to commend Caron and the organization that she leads for the Values program
yes,
because it is very necessary and it is something that is crucial and important for all members of society to have these reminders because some people may be familiar with some of the concepts that we are discussing, but it is a reminder and it is something that they have keep at the forefront of their mind as they go through
yes,
their daily lives, person maybe driving home and so on. It is an important reminder of the importance of having the correct values.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, thanks, Colin. And you know, when you think about you're correct. Determination is something we all know about. But I like how you put it when you're driving home in the evening. You know, after a long hard day fighting, you brought up your ideas. Your boss rejecting your ideas, and you know you're just tired and the sun hot and you driving home and it's easy to lose sight of your values, and that's why you know we wanted to keep the conversation going on it. And Dalimak, to address you now, you talk about where you grew up in Labre. I find Labre is a classic example of determination. You don't think so?
of
Look at
course,
the roads those people endure over the years. I mean, it's nobody's fault. That's just how the land is there in Labre, right? Because of the pitch lake and all of that, the land is always shifted. But you know, people have stayed, they've stuck it through, they're developing Labre. Labre, the spirit of the people
yeah,
is a spirit of determination. The
hmm,
spirit of our people, Trinidadian people. We've come so far. We made it through. We just celebrated emancipation,
yeah,
right? So that we commemorated moving away from slavery and indentureship. And we have come this far. Yes, we were steeped in violence and we still steeped in violence now, but we have persisted as a people. We have developed. We have come very far. I mean, we still have a long way to go and sometimes we slip, but I think that is human nature. And that's why it's important for us to always be encouraging and pushing each other back upwards.
yes, yes.
Yes, for sure.
You know, I want to share something with you all that I was debated all evening if I should or I shouldn't share this. I don't like to toot my own horn, but
That's
ba-
okay.
back in back in 2019, I actually received, and I think I must have told Colin this when he first told me. He chose D, and I think he chose that value determination. So it was near and dear to his heart. And I think I must have told him this back then, but in 2019, I was given an award, an international award for determination based on the recovery from being shot and having the work that I did after that. And even then, I didn't even do as much as as I have done now. But those people saw something in me that they liked, and the something they saw was just, despite being, and this time was literally shut down, um, I was able to overcome. And I don't like to talk about it because it sounds as though you're boasting, but I'm not. Um, Overcome so many obstacles along the way, including not being able to speak, not being able to eat solid foods for 9 months, including PTSD and so many other things, having lost a job because I had to retire on medical grounds. I had to sell my car. I lost so many things. And yet, you know, I was able to take these things in stride and start back building. And I'll tell you how I did it, just as we're talking about determination. It was all about, from me, from my perspective, it was deeply spiritual. It was something that could not have been done without faith in God, without God holding my hand and at times lifting and carrying me. And it was about identifying, and Colin said this at the very beginning, what I call it my divine purpose. Some people call it a definite purpose, but it was identifying what that was. I think it's clear to me now what it is. At the time, I was kind of sure what it is, but now I'm pretty clear that it is all about transforming hurt into hope. Not only my hurt, but helping others transform their hurt into hope. And when I look back now, I've seen where I had the purpose, I came up with a plan, and I've stuck to it so far. I'm telling you, it is discouraging at times, but it's good to just keep at it, because eventually expected you get a breakthrough. Like, I really did not expect that we would get this slot, and we got it in the name, in the precious name of our Lord. We were able to get this. So there we have so many examples right here, Labre, Daddy
Yes.
Mark, Houdin, so many people, Colin, all of us are examples of determination. And you could look at your neighbor next door, as we like to say in Trinidad,
Yes.
Yeah.
and you will see where, I'm sure you've seen it, where you pass a plot of land one day, and then you pass back sometime again, and you see the people cut down the grass, and then you pass again, and you see they put up some posts, and then you pass and you see a flat house, but the top of the house don't have a roof. They left it flat.
Yeah.
And then, you keep going, and you keep seeing gradually the house builds and it builds, and that comes from determination.
Of
And
course.
without that, we will just fall by the wayside and probably not ever accomplish our ultimate purpose in God's name. I mean, we could accomplish many things, but I think, in my perspective, I could be very wrong, and I'm throwing it out to you all to tell me if I'm wrong or right, and maybe to support me with a story or two. But I think that our stay here on earth it stays. We are here until such time as we achieve our divine purpose. And in my mind, I think when we achieve that, that's when we move on. I don't know. That's just what I think.
Yes, of course. I support that also. I support that also.
Yes.
And then there are lots of examples that I have been able to witness where determination is concerned. I have a good friend too who he came from, let's say, nothingness, and he was determined to be to get into business, selling animals and animal feed and all of that. And I watched him develop from zero. And he's well on his way. If I'm going to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, he's gone past 6. He has this little place now. He's very, very, very much into it, and he keeps developing and developing and developing. He got married. He has his wife working there with him, and it keeps developing and developing. So I know that took a lot of determination, because from where he came, from whence he came, I should say. Um, it's a lot of development, and with his mindset. He always talked about it all the time, all the years I've known him, because a good friend of mine back in my DJ days. He was one of my roadies, the guys who went along with me and stuff. And he always spoke about that. We went to Tobago, and he's there looking at a guy with a farm. And I said, partner, we have work to do here. He said, I'm coming. He spent a lot of time there. So when I look back at from whence he came, like I said, and I look at him now, I say, wow, that took a lot of determination. He was determined. He worked hard in construction and saved his money and developed this little farm. And now he has a little place where he sells, animal feed and all the related utilities and stuff that go with rearing animals. So, I always tip my hat to him. I say, you work hard enough, man. You work very hard, But it took a lot of determination for him to get where he is too. And there are lots of other people who I've witnessed develop that mindset of determination and did well. I can't say extremely well. They are getting there. They're really into it, and they give it their all, and it happens. I too have set myself some kind of goals, and Caron was speaking about 2021. It's a time I don't want to remember at all.
COVID-19 pandemic.
That lockdown. You see that lockdown? That lockdown took such a toll on me and a lot of people, because I had some friends who were just getting into business, and the good thing about, from my point of view, it is my property. So I was aiming at the moon, like I said, and on my property. So whether I missed or whether I had struck it gold, I'm still on my property. So I could have absorbed the effects of what you can call losses or the impact of that lockdown. But some of these, all of the other friends that I have were guys who were very, very into this entrepreneur drive. You know, they went into San Fernando and they rented places along
Mhm.
High Street and in the malls and stuff.
Mm.
And you can imagine the
For
impact
them
to
to
these.
pay your rent.
Yes, and they ended up without the property, without the space and all, because after the 2 year period, the landlords were saying, "No, gosh, we gave you enough time. We know it had the lockdown, but I have to continue with my operations." So, and these guys were flat broke.
Oh,
They're now paying back loans at the banks and stuff. They're doing all they can now. Some guys are working PH taxis and thing. So my heart bleeds when I look at the scenario like that. In my instance, it was very impactful too. I'm not too much different to them where the impact is concerned, but the ease of me um, um, working my way through it and absorbing those low blows is because I'm on my own property.
right.
Yes.
So whatever happens, everything stays by me. I still have everything
Yeah,
there, but
yeah.
it was very impacting on these guys. I know a guy went into selling shoes. He had a nice link. He was having all the nice brand name shoes, and he got this place on High Street. And I used to always go support him with something about his sneakers from him when he started, and it bam. He started like in 2019, at the bottom of 2019.
Oh no.
They talk, he liking his style. And 2020 was it, when after Carnival, he was doing well for Carnival, the Carnival vibe. And then the lockdown came right after Carnival. And when all of us, as buddies who were with this entrepreneurial kind of instinctive, I should put it like that, um, we were saying that the lockdown might be for about a month, might be a week. Some others said 2 weeks, and then it kept going on 5 months, 6 months, a year. Well, at that point in time, that's when it really impacted on these guys because the landlords, they weren't lenient anymore. They were lenient, hoping that the lockdown would have ended and that these guys would give some sort of a what's the word, to continue, without paying and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but it was not going that way. It went into a year, past a year, into a year and a half, and that was the demise of these guys' ambitious um, goal setting and stuff. So when I see these spaces, because nobody has even rented those areas in San Fernando along High Street there.
Oh,
I know how it is. These guys, I know how they're feeling. Sometimes I wonder how they are making out. But they too are very determined to survive.
well, they have to be. And you see, a lot of businesses never quite bounce back from that
No,
pandemic. Eh?
no, I
Things
tell
have never bounced back the way it
you, yeah,
was.
it's very devastating for a lot of people who
Yeah.
got into business, especially even those to people who young people who had decided to build the dream house, get married, and especially with the closure of Petrochin and then the lockdown. Especially, I'm speaking most likely for on the behalf of the people in South.
Yeah,
I,
the
I
South people. Yeah.
know the impact that had on a lot of them.
Mhm.
With the closure of Petrochin, um, then the lockdown. And I know from those financial institutions way of doing things, if you had borrowed, let's say, roughly $500,000, and you're working at Petrochin, and then you were retrenched, and whatever severance money you got was like, let's say, 600,000. The bank had no heart to take the 500,000, because it was other problems of getting it in the
Yeah.
future. So they're taking all. So plenty people, when I look at people in the South now, you see them, a lot of them pulling bull, like they say colloquially. They're
Yes.
pulling bull because that's what they were reduced to. but they too are determined to survive.
That's right. Yeah.
So that definition of determination, it says so much. You have to be extremely motivated, and
And Daddy Mark, you give you mentioned another aspect where we need determination now, which is survival. Because when
yes,
you
Yes.
don't have a choice and you need to do
Mm-hmm.
something to survive,
Yes.
determination kick in.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it does kick in.
Hmm, hmm.
It
So
does
it's
kick in.
either you reach a state where you have no choice but to get up and go.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Yes.
right. That's right. That's right.
And
Yeah.
and again, that shows the spirit of our people. I
Hmm.
mean, and people in general. We've been down, we've been kicked right down to the bottom, and we just pick up ourselves and keep going again.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's either that or give up.
Hmm.
I don't think we want to give up life.
Giving up is not an option.
It's not
That,
an.
yes, Colin. One day I was running through the back in Marabella there, and I got tired, and I just kept saying to myself over and over, and I said it out loud. And I'm pretty sure the people in the area, because it's a residential area I run in,
Mhm.
they must have looked at me and think I was a bit crazy talking to myself while I was running. But I kept running, and with every step I was saying, giving up is not an option. Giving up is not an option, because I wanted to give up. But if I had given up there, I would have had a long walk back to get home.
Yeah.
So it was better that I just kept going with a slow but steady pace until I got back home.
Yes. Yes.
So we
Yes.
are on this topic of determination, and we have our definition, and we said it's the habit of turning on effort instead of quitting when the going gets hard. We
Hmm.
said that winners never quit and quitters never win. And I listened to you earlier, and Dalimak, you talk about your friend.
Yeah.
But you didn't talk about yourself, because I know it's hard to talk about yourself. So I will just mention this briefly now. Colin, hear this story. Daddy Mac is talking about his friend who from very small knew what he wanted to do. But Daddy Mac, from very small, and I'm going back way back before your time, right? When we had something called the Philips. Was it the Philips radio, Daddy
Yes.
Mac?
Yes, it
They
was.
had something called a Philips radio. Nearly every household you go into, you would find that.
That was
Yes.
And it
before
was
my
like
time.
before your
Yeah.
time.
Before.
Long before your time.
Long before.
And
That was so long ago that where it was, I was like a dwarf to reach it to them. you know.
yeah, I
Wow.
was not going to tell him that. It was like a big black box, right? But it was always on
Wow.
some shelf that they have it.
Yeah.
And his grandfather used to have this black box on all the time. And Daddy Mac was this young, impressionable, very young man. He would have been like, what, 8 years old, Daddy Mac?
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And he used to hear these people talking, and it coming from this box. And Daddy Mac, is okay if I share this, right?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Fine time, Colin.
It
and,
makes
and,
me
but a lot of us thought like this back in the day. I mean, you Colin, and a lot younger people too, they would have grown up in a different time from us. But back in our day, you're seeing a box and you're hearing voices coming from the box, and you don't have a clue. So Daddy Mac asked his grandfather how those big men fit in that small box. That was his question. And he was hearing big men like Dr. Eric Williams. And who was the other one, Daddy Mac?
couple deal.
Kapil Dev. That
Yeah.
was the other name. So he was hearing these big names, these people talking intelligent conversations being carried on this radio. And his grandfather had it on all the time. And these people would have been very important. And Daddy Mac told himself from the age of 8, I am going to grow up and be in that black box too. And he started off as a DJ, and he just kept working steadily until he got into the radio business. And well, as you can see now, he is not only the radio business, he has done work with Tuco. Daddy Mac, what is the correct thing for Tuco?
The Trinbago Unified Calypsonian Association Organization.
Organization, right? And so he has done work with them. He has received an award from them. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
And that would have been in 2017.
17.
2017.
27.
And Now he's in demand. He's what do you call it? A chairperson in demand now. Master of ceremony. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes.
In demand for all kinds of events. Now, that is grit, that is hard work, that is having a purpose, having a goal in mind. His goal was to be in this black box, and he worked steadily towards it. Starting off as a DJ, I don't know if you would know about this, Colin. Do you know about when they used to sell those mixtapes on High Street?
I
In
can't recall
Santander?
that. I can't recall that. I know
Oh
I
my
used to
God!
burn. I know I would burn in CDs. I know I would burn in
Right,
CDs.
I
right. Well,
know
this would have
what
just
whatever.
before the burning CDs, they had the cassettes, the
Yes.
tape.
Yes.
And Daddy Mark used to produce these tapes, but he didn't just um, record the music on the tapes. He would record the music and embellish it with his words in between. So it was always some kind of commentary, just like if it was playing on the radio. So he created his own radio in a sense, you know?
That was
So
creative. That was very creative.
that was creative and gritty
Yes.
and steadfast and persistent. And, he had all those good things, determined to get
Yes.
into that black box. And we are in a little black box right now. I'm seeing us on my screen in a black box.
They developed the black box.
It's a modern black box.
Yes.
Modern black box.
Yes, the
Yes.
modern black box. You even have it in your hand walking around now.
Yes.
But that was quite an experience, where determination is concerned. I mean, from ever since that day, like I explained to Karen, it was very fascinating. I look at my grandfather's size. I look at my size. I too, at that age, couldn't fit in that black box. But these voices, and in particular in the morning time, there was a guy named Bob Gittins. He worked at Radio Trinidad. Back in those days, there weren't any FM frequencies, all right? So it was just AM frequencies. And I used to hear this guy get in the morning saying, "And now," this, and he had this deep voice. So I like him. So in the morning, beside those times when my grandfather would be listening to all those political conversations and arguments with these political heads, the morning time really used to blow my mind, because this guy is a wake up man. The way he talks in the morning, he'll get you up and think. And later on, we had known like Dave Alcock and Dave, but that guy at that time, the Bob Gittins, he really blew my mind. And I was saying that his voice sounded like a giant. So how in the world is he in that box? And I asked my grandfather. I think my grandfather laughed at me for like a week and keep telling all his. I was upset at Grandpa. Because I asked him that in confidence.
Exactly. But grandparents.
But
And the thing is, it's amazing. God planted that seed in your brain, and because He had already gifted you and equipped you with what you needed to get into that black box, that wonderful voice of yours. And Colin, I don't know if you remember this, but way back when I first met you, I wouldn't say where and when and how, but that's up to you if you want to. But I don't know if you remember, I had told you something similar about your voice. I was impressed with your voice back in the day when I first met you.
I don't remember that. I forgot that. I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh. And there I was thinking I was encouraging you.
But he has a fantastic voice. Yes.
He does. And he's in the right business to have a good voice like that,
Yes.
He's also a great podcast host, if I'm not
okay.
mistaken. Yes.
Yes.
So he's got the voice and he's using it.
Mhm.
God gives us these gifts and we can't leave them to wither away. We have to use them.
True.
Yeah.
Because just like muscle, they will atrophy.
Yes. When I think about it too, it took a lot of determination also to get where I am now, because I told you, and like Colin said, there are obstacles. Sometimes they're like mountains so high you don't think you can get over, or they're so wide you don't think you could get around, or so low you think you don't want to get under. Because when I came to Port of Spain, in my attempt to get into radio, um, I wasn't sure if I would have done that because to me there was this kind of attitude. I have observed a tongue man attitude, if I want to put it that way. Tongue people had this kind. They are. I am. I stand to be corrected. I can be blown apart for that, but I used to observe it from that point of view. When you come from South and you come into this arena they call Port of Spain, the people in Port of Spain, they let you know, listen, this is our turf partner. you know, you are South man. You
Your
know,
country bouquet.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we in the South have done so much to intrude on their turf that they had to accept. I mean,
Yes.
some of the best
Yes.
footballers, some of the best, sports people in general, some of the best academics and intellectuals came from South. If you look at
And
each other,
then the oil company, we had oil in from South, right? We
yeah, well,
had
I
that.
used to remind them
Well,
of that. There'll be no tongue without South.
yes.
So, because
You
the resources and everything, even the
Yes,
gas.
yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
When I came to Port of Spain, I can remember going to a little radio school run by a guy named Percy Parker Williams, and I was kind of nervous, because the town people, the town youths and thing at the time, they were bubbling there, So I went to the back of the class, and I stayed at the back of the class. Everything I listened to lectures, everything that the workload that they gave us to do and thing. But I knew I had the talent to do it because I used to practice this radio thing home with my cassettes, and so
Yeah.
I felt them out earlier o'clock that they don't have what it takes, but they have this tongue flair, you know.
Yeah.
And eventually, the Percy Parker, he asked me to do an ad one day. So I went home and I produced the ad in my little studio. I came with my ad, not only with voice, but backup music and the little effects and
I'm
stuff.
sure you beat everybody. I'm sure you blow everybody out of the water with that one.
But when he played it, the class, every time there was a murmur, this kind of murmur in the classroom, and everybody submitting their demo and this and that. And when I gave them mine and they played it, the place got quiet. So that kind of got me more nervous now. I said, geez, something is happening here that I didn't plan for. But it's just to say that it was not an easy ride into radio. I guess the most powerful tool I had was that God-given voice.
Yes. The
You know,
voice that had the woman swooning, that earned you the name McDaddy.
up to this day, when people say, I mean, I've heard it on many occasions. It never went to my head
Mm-hmm.
because I knew where it came from and who's responsible. I told
Yes.
them, I tell people up to now, I am just the vessel that carries this voice that is a God-given gift. I
Yes.
couldn't mold this out of mud, or I couldn't blow into my hands and say, "Song like this." So I keep telling people that all the time. So I know that is what took me all the way into radio. Everywhere I went, people were like fascinated with my tone and quality of voice and stuff. So like I told Caron, certain people helped me to use it and to mold it in that commercial way, if I should put it that way. And then I developed on my own. But it wasn't no easy ride. Trust me, partner.
Well, you know what, Daddy Mac?
Yeah.
People can read that whole story in the upcoming book, Hot Cocoa on a Rainy Day, 10 plus 1 stories from Visionaries, which includes your story.
I too have access to read about me.
There's two things came out of your story there just now, and it's related to a different value. And I just want to mention that different value. And the different value is humility. Humility came out twice. Once is when you went to the back of the class.
Yeah.
And the second time is when you said you couldn't take kudos for your voice. I think that was it. Two things. Humility. And I think that is very, very important, apart from our determination values. We must acknowledge the others too.
Yes.
And as we're talking about that, Daddy Mac, looking at the time, so I just want to get in this before we go any further,
Yeah.
our next session we'll be doing the letter E, right?
Yes.
And the letter E is endurance was the word that was selected. I will ask the person who did it if she will be our guest, but I have no guarantees on that. So I'll be looking around for a guest to talk about endurance. I wish we could get a sport personality on. That would really be good.
Yes. Yes. I would
So
appreciate.
I'm saying that, so if anybody, who can get in touch with Daddy Mac could get in touch with him and suggest somebody or volunteer, we'd be really happy for that.
Yes. Yes. I would appreciate that. And I think Colin is very humble too.
I think so too. I wanted to say it, but I was waiting for you to say. I'm glad you said it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
I
he's
agree.
very humble too. He has a
Yes.
nice voice for media, and I
Yes.
think his intelligence speaks of another
Yes.
side of Colin. And you're not hearing it in his voice, but he
Mm-mm.
has a nice tonal quality to his voice. And I like when people are humble like that. I think it augurs well for your personality. When you meet with people, you can see the effects of it.
Yes.
And it
Thank
takes
you
you.
all for the kind words.
Yeah, it really.
Kind but true words, right?
Kind and true words.
Yeah, yeah. It's very nice to be humble. Like Karen said, I can testify to that. I've always been humble. Sometimes I thought it was like a level of low self-esteem, but it wasn't all of that. Maybe had some of that because, like I told you, in my experiences in coming into Port of Spain. Now, as a DJ, I used to be all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But the radio, the media aspect of that development, that different level of
Right.
DJing, like I said, there were times when I felt intimidated, like I was kind of scared when I end up between the big names. It used to have me
Yes.
kind of, like, geez, what you doing here, boy? What you, boy, what you doing here? Yeah.
But remember how they all stood up for you?
Yeah, that experience was the greatest because
Yes.
I was like actually sweating. I said, "Jeez, the boss could send me here." Was on the heads, best of the best were on
In
that
the
table.
media, in the world of media, Colin. So all the
Yeah,
big names in the media, and,
yeah,
and
Yes.
he walked in, and they all stood up when he
yeah.
walked
Wow.
in. Yeah.
When I got on the stage, I see everybody standing up. I said, "Well, geez, and something very wrong is happening here now."
And they knew him. They called him by name. They say, "This
Yeah.
is the Daddy Mark you're talking about."
Well, the way they greeted me, I felt really at home. So I got out of that scary kind of mood, and I started off like with a little nervousness, but the way they were talking to me, the Holly Thomas, I can't remember all the names of my hand now, but
Yes.
these guys I really looked up to, and the acceptance, the reception, I think that helped me to grow leaps and bounds after that experience. I was like, I couldn't wait to get home. I was like on a bubble going home. I said, geez, they like me. They this. I was like excited, excited, excited. And I think
See,
it really took off after that.
so I'm glad you said that because it kind of tied into something Colin said earlier about the stepping stones. We need these little motivations, these little wins to keep us
Yes.
going.
Yes.
I'm looking at the time, Daddy Mac. Do you mind if we ask Colin to just give us a little, if he has any last words that he wants to say, a little summary of,
Yes.
anything that he wants to add?
Of
Colin?
course. Colin is our
Sure.
special guest
Well,
today.
yeah, just to recap, I would say that determination is important for every phase of life, whether you're somebody who young, old, or middle age. It's important to have that firmness and resoluteness of purpose, and also it is important to dream big. Do not allow your environment or what persons may say about you to hold you back, but reach for the stars, and with God on your side, you will achieve what you were created to achieve.
Wonderful words there. Thank you so much, Colin. We really appreciated having you today.
Yes. Very
Yes, glad to
much.
be
I
here. Pleasure
remember
to be
you.
here. Okay, you got the key.
Okay.
Okay. And
So as
Magdalene,
Colin Denoon. Yes, Karen.
thank you very much for this program today, for the opportunity for us to share on this very important topic, values, and in particular, determination.
Yes, yes. I will promote what I do. I promote our this particular Tuesday that I have designed for this ABCs of values. I try to advertise and promote via the various chats that I'm on, so that I hope that we can generate. I know there are lots of people listening, and there are lots and lots of people listening. I think it's a new concept of what we are doing on media. It's outside of the bacchanalia of politics. It's
Yes.
outside of the truly bad music. It's just a different avenue that I would certainly appreciate if people would, you know, um, connect with us and send in their comments and
Or
call.
add their own stories to, tell us about their
Yes.
values, the way they have overcome obstacles and,
Mhm.
use things to build themselves positively or to build other people.
Yes, yes. I think it augurs well for the nation by extension, and for the young ones who are coming up, especially the young ones who are coming up, if we can spread the vibe as wildfires across the nation about values, I think we'd achieve a lot in moving forward, in maturing as a better nation, with different aspirations and all of that. So I really appreciate this. And like I said, I'm not going to stop. We continue every other Tuesday with the values. You said next we're going to be doing endurance. I too will search for someone who can join us, and I appreciated how we had Colin on throughout the duration of the program. So I really look forward to that next.
Yes, I had to do a little convincing, but I'm so glad he made a decision for himself to
Right.
stay, and I'm really glad for that. Again, it shows he personified determination by doing that.
Yes, 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 yes. Fantastic. And we're gonna get there. I always have that belief that it's gonna develop as we go along.
Yes, and I like how you have your music, man. You spend time selecting the right music. You can't go wrong with Stalin and Merchant.
No,
And then
the
I think you brought in who it was, Ryzen, I think was the other
rise.
one.
Yes, rise,
Yes, yes,
rise.
yes.
Yeah.
And the last one was who?
That was Caron Ashe.
Right,
It's a
yes,
song named "Winners Never Quit."
yes. I remember that song, but I
Yes,
couldn't remember who sang it.
yes, that's Caron
And,
Ashe.
and that is so well chosen. Perfect. Winners never quit, quitters never win.
That's
That
right.
is that is determination.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. I want to thank you too for coming on board, and
Yeah.
I mean, getting to know you. I always thank God for that. I call you a special, special, special friend, and
Oh,
I know we're going to develop this relationship in trying our best to reshape some of the negative mentalities of some of the people. I wouldn't say young ones only.
yes.
So
So
it's a
thank
job
you
we
very
have
much
in our
for
hands.
having me this evening, Daddy Mac.
It's been a pleasure, and it is always a pleasure.
Thank you. Can I share just one last thing before I go?
Of course.
Your other friend
Mhm.
will be turning 80 this year.
For real?
For real in November.
She's
And
extra special.
yes, and that I mean she's another example. I mean, if you go through her life, determination with
Yeah.
a smile.
Yes.
Yes.
My
So I
dad,
do.
special, extra special friend. She's very, very special to me.
Yes, I was going to give stories about her, but I said no. It's better if let you talk, let Colin talk, and let's hear other things. But I
Yes.
couldn't end today without mentioning her because I mean she's been through so many trials, including her experience with breast cancer, and she has
Yes.
just stayed the course no matter what.
Yes. After I spoke to that lady, I think a lot of things changed in my head.
Look at that.
Has that power. I said, wow. Sometimes she'll send things on my phone. I'll sit down and take time out and absorb that like a sponge. I will say, my God, I'm so happy that I met this woman. And look at that. It was like a domino effect. I ended up meeting you. And it's a real pleasure, as a joy in my spirit to have met both of you, and it's how it happened.
Yes, it is how.
I would not say it's a coincidence, because it started from something that was happening with school children, and it
Yes.
just
Hmm.
morphed into this beautiful relationship with she and you and myself. I cherish it very, very, very much. Very, very.
And the feeling is mutual. So thank you very much.
I want to thank you again for making the time out to help me produce this program. It's a Caron production, and highly supported by me.
It's a Caron / Daddy Mac, or Daddy Mac / Caron.
Yeah. So let's continue to do it, and with God's help, we're gonna get there.
Yes, thank you. And have a good evening to you and all your listeners.
Yes. I'm gonna close with Colin's contribution again.
Okay, thanks.
Okay then. You enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too, Daddy Mac. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
I think values, simply put, represent what someone values, what is important to that person. And values serve as a compass for us as we go forward in this journey for life. And values are also those things that remain constant with us as we move from one stage to the other in life. Many things may change, but our values should really remain constant, and we should seek to adhere to them. According to the Oxford Dictionary, determination refers to the quality of being determined or having a firmness of purpose. I chose determination as my chief value because it really explains the course of my life thus far. I had to have determination in order to overcome many obstacles that I faced in my journey towards fulfilling my goals, ranging from studying long hours to managing interpersonal conflict. I think determination gives me the confidence to keep going no matter what, because I know that God is with me and I will not fail. So my encouragement to all of you who are viewing this is to have determination and don't give up on your goals no matter what.
Well, that's it for today's edition of Hard Talk. It's a very special Tuesday. Every other Tuesday, we do this. Let me tell you exactly the way we are doing this program. It's the better path, the ABCs of values, adding value to all life by adding values to your life. And today's topic dealt with determination. The next following Tuesday, that's Tuesday, the following Tuesday after this Tuesday that is coming here, we are going to be delving into endurance. So I ask of you to join us on the program. Send in your messages via YouTube or Facebook, or you can call us at 222-8255, 222-8255, or 866-525-1099. That's our toll-free number, 866-525-1099. So I always do my personal thing on Tuesdays. I think this Thursday, I'm going to invite Miss Anna Asher Cambon, and we're going to be talking about emancipation, and it's the definition, and of course the cultural aspect of it, and where food and all of that is concerned. So look out for that. I'm going to try to do that on Thursday, this Thursday coming here, right here at Power 102 Digital. It's been fantastic, and hope you stick and stay. Come tomorrow. Farid Ali will be the host of Hard Talk, Power 102 Digital Wednesday.